For a sprinter in anaerobic activities, um, they will be working in large reps of small amounts to try and increase their um, muscle mass, creating more power. This is useful for anaerobic activities such as long jump sprinting. With an increased strength, also, it means they can do their activity faster. The power also means faster, and creating more of an anaerobic threshold means that they're trying to delay the lactic acid system from happening, so they can build up as less lactic acid as possible. For a marathon runner, if VO2 max increases, which is an adaptation, they can exercise for longer without fatiguing, which basically means that their muscular endurance is better as well. Their breathing rate would also become lower, which means that they don't need to take in as much oxygen because your body is able to pump blood more efficiently around your body. Another adaptation would be reaction time. So in football, if you're being passed the ball, to then be able to quickly control it and continue playing on with that game. These are some overall examples of adaptations. Next, we're moving on to anaerobic cardiovascular system adaptations. For an anaerobic activity, there wouldn't be as many adaptations as there would for aerobic activities. Only really a couple of things that have to be improved in your CV system for anaerobic activities, such as breathing rate, which can then lead to muscular endurance, and also breathing rate. What I was saying about building muscular, I meant doing weight training, doing HIIT sessions, which increases your heart rate and allows you to build muscular endurance as well. A HIIT session would be very good for this because it's making your CV system and your respiratory system, in fact, which they both go together in this anaerobic activity quite nicely. A HIIT session isn't the main target of a HIIT session isn't to improve your cardiovascular or respiratory system, and so that is why it's used more in aerobic training predominantly. However, it does make your cardiovascular system and your respiratory system work harder, which can get it used to the strains and stresses of a short activity that's anaerobic. For respiratory, I mainly covered it when I was talking about the cardiovascular system. However, it also, in aerobic training, it also helps to increase the size and the strength of respiratory muscles, meaning that for the neuromuscular system, there are many different types of adaptations that can occur. Some of them could be an increased hyperplasia, meaning the number of muscle fibers leading to increased force production and increased tendon strength, increased glycogen stores, mitochondria, neural pathways, hypertrophy, meaning the cross-sectional area leading to another increased force production. On the graph above, you can see that this has been before any type of adaptation has occurred. And the graph underneath is after the training program has happened and training has occurred. Right, so the graph above is not really the best. There are a lot of jaggedy lines, and it's not one straight process. However, the graph below, after the months of anaerobic training, you can see that the peak power was 15.11 watts kilogram, and the normative values are 10.89, meaning that the person has got an increased good amount of fast glycolytic fibers since they don't fatigue very quickly. You can see in the graph that there are still little notches. This means that they could have worked even harder. However, the Wingate test is very hard, and so this could be an obvious thing to have happened. However, the graph increases very suddenly, which means that he put a lot of energy in at the start. This isn't necessarily good because he's using all of his energy systems up at the beginning. However, that is what normally happens in ATP, PC. It then starts to slowly decrease, and then a slight plateau. There, in this activity, it means that there will be a lot of fast glycolytic fibers that will be used and fast oxidative fibers. If more are able to be recruited, then we can have more motor units, meaning we are going to send more impulses down the motor units. Because of this, there's physiological adaptations to high intensity and a short duration training types. One would be fast twitch fiber behavior, meaning that the hypertrophy, speed, power, and strength are all focusing on the contractions from the fast fibers. So these training types improve the specific component, whether that's speed, strength, power, combination. Another adaptation is neuromuscular fatigue. The multiple body segments create explosive movements. This could be to lift heavy weights. Loads require more muscular involvement, meaning training of strength, power, speed. These types of training help to improve the neuromuscular system. Timing of neurostimulus is another adaptation. The contractions timing become more coordinated and in time with each other. especially with power, speed, and strength training, to help create a more of a force that moves loads. The last one is fiber size. So with muscle size increasing with hypertrophy, and this is due to an increase in the number of thickness and the thickness of actin and myosin filaments, and an increase in sarcoplasm, an increase in myofibrils. Right, so overall, an example is a 100-meter sprinter is faster since the impulses will be quicker. Because of their glycolytic muscles, their different reactions, and just overall means that they will be quicker. Right. Lastly, for anaerobic, is the energy systems. If training is constantly occurring, anaerobic training, doing it at least 3 to 5 times a week for 3 months, then you will be able to see a change, whether this be the amount of PC and glycolytic stores. This would be good for a 100-meter sprint athlete because they want to use their ATPC stores as much as they possibly can. This could increase from about 10 seconds to 12. You also want to delay OBLA, which is the onset of blood lactate accumulation. This is the point where lactic acid starts to build up and you start to fatigue. It's also called hitting a wall, known as the lactate threshold. You basically don't want to hit this as quickly, otherwise you will become more tired as the lactic acid builds up. Also start to create an increased tolerance for this. This means this is good. It means it feels as good as like removing lactic acid, because your body can buffer it, and the more you train, the easier it is to buffer it. The ability to produce ATP without oxygen. The body will become better at storing PC and carbohydrates within the muscles for the use of ATP with using it for energy without oxygen. If there is a better storage, this means that the ability of the ATP system to work at higher intensity. The activity of the enzymes that break down PC, synthesize and break down ATP, and help break down glucose to form lactic acid are increased. This means that the breakdown of PC helps extend the length of ATP PC energy systems, which helps during speed, power, strength performances.